So you want to start Shopify dropshipping, but you're wondering how much money does it take to actually get started and to start making money? That's a fantastic question. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how much it's going to cost you to start a successful Shopify dropshipping business, as well as an overall e-commerce business and brand. And I'm going to cover a list of the most essential apps that you're going to need, as well as the optional apps as well, just as extras, like literally everything: Facebook ads, influencer marketing, photography. So let's go ahead and get started. Super excited about this one. This is actually a part of my free Shopify mini course playlist on my channel. If you want to see the absolute best Shopify content, how to build a successful 6 to 7 figure profitable Shopify business, you can go ahead and take a look at this playlist. It's on my channel. So there's going to be a link down below. But to get started with this video, my name is Dan Vass. It's great to meet you. I've been living and breathing e-commerce for the past several years, and I've sold millions of dollars in physical products online across a variety of different brands. And it's what I do every single day. Like, I'm in it, and it's not just me. I've grown an amazing team of several multi-million-dollar e-commerce sellers who are also growing their own businesses and brands, who have their own products as well. The most recent brand that I've been involved with is called Broday. You can actually take a look. We've recently hit $50K a month on Amazon, an evaluation of over $1 million by Clearbank, and we're growing every single day. Throughout this video, I'm also going to be giving you 3 different budget levels that you can follow, and it will give you a great idea on how much it's going to cost to start your business, whether you're on a low budget, a medium budget, or on a higher budget. So to start off, first of all, we've got the Shopify plan. And there's a variety of different e-commerce providers that you can use. There's Shopify, there's BigCommerce, there's WooCommerce, there's Magento, but by far the number one e-commerce website builder is definitely Shopify. Shopify has the largest market share. I've built all of my Shopify stores on Shopify and will continue to do so, as long as Shopify remains as good as it is. They basically make it as easy as it can possibly be, almost drag and drop. With a few plugins, you can really make it drag and drop, and it just makes the experience so easy and so user-friendly. So I highly recommend Shopify. Of course, you can use one of the other ones that I mentioned, but honestly, without a doubt, Shopify is the absolute best. It's used by all the most successful e-commerce stores in the world, and you should also definitely consider using Shopify for your store. So how much does Shopify cost? Shopify costs $29 a month for the basic plan. It does come with a 14-day free trial if you use the link down below here in the description, as well as you'll find all the other useful links that I'm talking about here for literally everything, all the apps, everything I'm going to mention here. Down below, I'm going to try to jam-pack this video with as much information as possible, just like I do all my other videos, because I want to have the absolute best e-commerce content online on the internet to help you get started. So Shopify plan, $29 a month, and then that's for the basic plan, which should allow you to get started and get going with your store. And then the one above that is the $79 a month regular Shopify plan. And honestly, the only major difference with that one is that it allows you to set different prices for international stores, for global selling. So if you're only selling in the US or in one country, you don't need to worry about that. And if you want that option, honestly, there's a lot of different plugins and apps that do that as well. Like Shopify has an amazing app store on the platform. There are tons of different apps, and I'm going to talk about that as well. All the most essential apps that you do need to actually get started and grow a successful e-commerce business. Now, after Shopify, the next thing will be your domain. So what a domain is basically your website. So when you are going to be opening your Shopify store, obviously you need to purchase a website, you need to purchase a domain, and that's going to be, for example, www.broday.co, which is the domain of one of my brands. And for your domain, that's going to cost you about $20 to $50 if the domain is available. So a lot of domains online, of course, are taken. For example, you can't just go and buy www.google.com because it's obviously taken by Google. And so to check that, there's going to be a link down below. You'll find a partner link there with GoDaddy and Google Domains as well. Those are the 2 best domain providers. It's the ones that I use. I don't use anything else. Namecheap is okay as well. I'll include that one in there too. Just gives you some flexibility, but it's going to cost you between $20 and $50 for your domain per year. Now, one other thing that you absolutely need is an SSL certificate, and that usually costs money. But if you decide to go with Shopify, which is what I recommend, as I recommended earlier, then that actually comes included with an SSL certificate. What an SSL certificate is basically, I'm sure that you've seen this when you're online and you go on a website and it says, be careful, this website may be stealing your information. That's because they don't have a valid SSL certificate. And so Shopify comes with an SSL certificate. If you look at the pricing list and what's included in each plan, it actually comes in all the plans. Now, the next expense when you're starting off your Shopify dropshipping store are going to be your product units. Now, again, with your product units, since we're doing dropshipping, you are not buying in bulk. So just a quick refresher here. What is dropshipping? Dropshipping, just, if we're gonna bring it back to the basics here, basically what that means is that allows you to start selling products. You can open a website, start a Shopify, put up a product on there, make a listing, make a sales page, and then basically start selling your product without actually having to buy any units up front. And then as you get customers buying from you, you can then basically send that money to your supplier. You can pay your supplier and then you pocket the profit. And your supplier will directly send the units to your customers. So because we're dropshipping, you don't actually have to buy any units up front, meaning that you don't have to place any inventory orders typically as you would with something like Amazon or in a traditional retail business. So you don't have to put up $500 or $1,000 or more to actually purchase those units up front. However, I do want to mention something very, very important. The strategy that I've developed that I've made the most amount of money with Shopify is called brand dropshipping. And this is a strategy that you see all around YouTube now. Literally every single YouTuber talks about it. And it's something that I created myself. I come from an Amazon background. That's where I started. And then when I actually got into Shopify, this was about 2018 when I got into Shopify, I realized that there were a few issues with dropshipping and the traditional dropshipping model. So if you don't place any inventory orders up front, what's going to happen is that your logo, there's going to be no logo on the product, and the customer is going to be receiving something that looks like it just came out of the factory. And I myself, if I order from a reputable store, if I get a product and it looks like it just came out of a Chinese factory or any factory for that matter, it just looks cheap, obviously that's not going to be the best thing for me, for the customer, and I'm not going to feel so good that I just paid $50 for something that even potentially could have the factory's marketing materials on it, because sometimes that even happens with dropshipping. And so that's why I recommend dropshipping only for the very beginning of your store. And then once you prove concept, once you've actually demonstrated that you're making sales and you're making profit, then you can go ahead and place an inventory order, and that way you can get your logo on the product, you can get your product, you can start offering like 2 to 3 day shipping with it, either from your own house if you're in the US or Canada or selling in the country that you live in, or you can use a third-party fulfillment warehouse, or you can use Amazon FBA. That's getting a little bit complicated. We don't have to worry about that, but just understand that when you're getting started, you do have the option of drop shipping. Just understand that obviously the shipping time won't be super fast and there's going to be no logo on the product. You can try to get a logo on the product. I always recommend doing that. I have an amazing Shopify video. It's an entire 2.5 hour tutorial that you can watch. It's also in this playlist. I highly recommend you watch that after. And in that video, I break down basically everything you need to know to get started, as well as how to get your logo on the product and how to actually start dropshipping. So for the purpose of this video, since we are dropshipping at the beginning, we don't have to worry about unit costs, because we only need to think about unit costs once we actually make money from the customer. So after we've run the ads, after the customer's already paid us, that's when we have to think about, okay, like now we actually need to, pay some of that money to our supplier, and then the supplier will ship the product, right? So first we get the money, then we give it to the supplier. That's why dropshipping is good. So because of that, product units, it's 0 because you don't need that up front. Okay. Next, samples. Samples are very, very important with dropshipping, with any e-commerce business. I always get a sample whenever I am thinking of launching a new product, whenever I'm doing product research and just, exploring new product ideas. So what is a sample? Well, basically it's going to be your product, like an actual unit of your product, shipped to your house from your supplier that you found. And you could have found the supplier on Alibaba, AliExpress, or any website online really. And so your sample, you can actually ask your supplier for a sample. They're going to ship it to you. And once it comes to your house, then you can actually look at the sample and you can test it and you can really judge the quality. And so that's why I always recommend getting at least 2 to 3 samples, definitely honestly 3, not even 2, from 3 different suppliers. And then you can choose out of those 3, which one is the best one. And so your sample is usually going to cost much more than your unit of your product will cost when you're actually drop shipping and when you're ordering in bulk down the line. And that's because it's just more expensive to order samples just to make one unit. Potentially you can even ask for your logo to be included on the sample, maybe even on the product. Some suppliers will work with you and they'll drop ship with your logo on the product. They can do that sometimes as well, as long as you ask them. And so for your samples, you're looking at anywhere between $50 to $200, depending on the number of samples you get. Of course, I'm giving a range because it's up to you entirely how much this business will cost, but it's definitely going to cost you at least $50. Like that's just how much a sample is going to be at the bare minimum. And that's money that you do need up front. The next expense is your product photography. And this is where it gets kind of expensive. The reason why it gets expensive is because, obviously you want to have professional looking photos. You want to have photos on your website, on your Shopify store that look incredible. right? Because if your photos are not good, if you just go and do the classic beginner mistake of taking pictures from the Alibaba website or the AliExpress website for the product, you're not going to convert. You're not going to basically make any sales. And so what's the point of doing all this if you're not going to make any sales? So that's why product photography, having great looking photos, lifestyle photos, photos on a white background, photos of the product in use, photos of the product's packaging and everything like that are so important. And so for your product photography, you're looking at an expense of between $500 and $2,000 depending on the level of photographer that you hire. Now, I actually have this service called the Ecom Freedom Perfect Photo Service. So my company, Ecom Freedom, we coach like thousands of people. We've coached thousands of people over the years in starting their own Shopify and Amazon businesses and bring them to success. And so one of the extra services that we offer is called the Ecom Freedom Perfect Photo Service, where we have vetted professional photographers that I've personally used for my own businesses, and we've had them take pictures for e-commerce for ourselves, and so our students have access to them. And so there's going to be a link down below for the Ecom Freedom Perfect Photo Service, something that if you want, you can take it. I'm not making this video to try to get you there, to be honest. I'm just making this video to be transparent with you about how much it will really cost to start this business. It is an option to you, and honestly, $500 for amazing product photos is on the low side. Believe me, if you really look around, you're going to find on Upwork or Fiverr or anywhere else, it's going to be more expensive. When all is said and done, especially if you need a model for your product, it's going to be more expensive. And that's where it can really hit $1,000, $2,000. So again, if you want to make it simple, you have the Ecom Freedom Perfect Photo Service. The link is down below. You'll find it in the description. You can also choose to take the photos yourself. Honestly, if you can buy one of those, it's called like a mini photo studio on Amazon. I'll put a link down below as well. I actually have one of these. And so basically it just lets you, it gives you like a white background to take pictures of your product, and it's super simple. So you can try that yourself first. And you can buy that photo studio and you can do it. However, I recommend at least having a good quality iPhone, like one of the later models. They have amazing cameras, so it should be good. And then you can also maybe find a friend who has like a DSLR camera or mirrorless camera, and you can maybe work out a deal with your friend, help them out or help her out, or maybe just pay and it might be discounted. So that's also an option available to you. If these options are not available to you, then I recommend just going with perfect photos. All right, so the next expense will be your influencer marketing. So influencer marketing, basically we're going to be getting influencers on Instagram to be promoting our products. So Instagram is by far the most powerful out of all the other influencer marketing platforms, simply because people on Instagram are used to getting marketed products, and so it's just it's the one that we found the most success with. You have other options as well, like TikTok, of course, but that's like a little bit newer. So for influencer marketing, you're looking at a budget of between $500 and $1,000, and the reason why it's so expensive is because what you want to do, this is the best strategy by far, you want to send out units to micro influencers that these are basically people with like under 10,000 followers, and you basically want to send them a DM, and you want to from your brand page, your brand Instagram page, and you want to offer them to send them a unit and just be like, hey, if you like it, make a post and just basically talk about it with your followers, only if you like it, obviously. And that way you don't have to pay these micro influencers, because these people, they're not so used to getting paid for their posts because they're like, they don't have that many followers. Whereas somebody with like 50K, 100K followers, they're right away going to ask for money. They're going to ask for at least $500, $1,000. And so the reason why I put $500 to $1,000 for influencer marketing is because let's say you send out about 30 units of product to micro influencers. That's, I would say, the bare minimum. So sending out to 30 different micro influencers, that's going to cost you at least a few hundred in unit cost themselves, right? Depending on the unit cost of your product. So just to be safe, for your launch, for a successful launch, we'll put $500 to $1,000 for influencer marketing. Now, the next expense will be your Facebook ads. So Facebook ads still by far remain the best way to get a Shopify store up and running and actually start making sales. And the reason for that is just because of the amazing targeting on Facebook, as well as the fact that everybody's on Facebook and Facebook ads just work for e-commerce. So for Facebook ads, I recommend allocating a budget of about $50 a day for testing in the learning stage. So at the very beginning, obviously, when you first launch your cold ads, they're called cold ads, meaning that you're going to be targeting cold interests. If you're let's say you're selling like pet products, you're going to be targeting on Facebook, people with dogs or people with cats or people with pets. And so in that learning stage, that's where you're really going to be looking for interests that work. You're going to be learning for targeting that works well for your ads, and you're going to be testing different ads. And so for that, when I'm actually testing new Facebook ads, I look for a return of at least 3 to 5 times, 3 to 5x ROAS. And so $50 a day will typically allow you to run about 5 different ad sets of like $10 a day for each ad set. So like, for each interest, right? You can do 5 interests, $10 a day, $50 a day. And that works out to being about, if you do 50 for about a week, $50 a day, that's about $350 for a week and $700 over 2 weeks. Now, again, you're making sales. You're not just like throwing money away. The point is to make sales and to make a 3 to 5x return on ad spend. So at the end of the day, you want to monitor that. You want to make sure that you're spending what you can afford. But one thing to understand is in the very beginning, it will be, your marketing spend will not be super optimal just because you're in the learning stage. And once you get past the learning stage of your Facebook ads, that's when everything's going to even out and you're only going to be running ads that are profitable for you. And you're going to really figure out, okay, like, targeting people with cats works, but targeting people with dogs doesn't really work that well. And, maybe targeting women 18 to 35 works well for my brand, but targeting men, 65 plus doesn't really work, right? So after the learning stage, you're going to know that, and then your ads are going to be very optimized. So those are the most essential expenses. And like I mentioned previously, Shopify has an amazing app store with tons of apps on it. And I'm going to talk about the most essential apps that I think every single store absolutely needs. And I'm also going to talk about some add-on apps that are also very, very useful. So the first app that's essential is going to be a frequently asked questions app. So this will allow you to create a section on your site that will show frequently asked questions that your customers might have. And this will really improve your conversion rate on your store. What's a conversion rate? Basically, it's going to be the ratio of visitors to buyers on your page. And so the higher your conversion rate, the better, basically the more money that you make. So for your FAQ app, you can just type in on the Shopify App Store, and it's apps.shopify.com. Just type in FAQ, and there's a ton of different options here. Like Help Center is one of my favorites. Again, there's so many apps on here, you can choose different ones. But like I said, Help Center is great for that. And for an FAQ app, you're looking at typically between $5 and $20 a month. So most of these apps, they come with a monthly fee. There's going to be some free apps, but almost all the ones that I'm going to recommend, almost all the useful apps on the App Store, they're going to come with a monthly fee. However, they also do come with a generous free trial. Usually it's between 7 and 14 days. So for example, for Help Center, if we click here, we can see that there's a free plan available, 14-day free trial. And so even if you don't want to pay, to get started, basically it's going to be free for unlimited questions and answers, a search bar and things like that. And then if you want some additional features, it's going to be between $5 and $30 a month. Now the next app that you absolutely need is going to be a product review app. So if I go on the App Store and type in product reviews, there's going to be a few different ones on here. So one of the most popular ones is Luke's. That's one that I've used extensively. So that's an option, 14-day free trial. And if we look at the plan here, it's $9.99 after that. And there's different plans, of course. If you scroll down, you can see 100 monthly review request emails, $10, 500, $30, and it goes up from there. One of the other very popular review apps is called Stamped. As you can see, this one is a higher level review app. So this one has a free plan available, 3-day free trial. And then if you scroll down, you can also see their different plans available here. Now, one thing I want to briefly mention is that you don't have to pay for an expensive plan at the beginning. You can get away with free trials or free plans for most of these, or maybe the basic plan at the very maximum. You don't need premium, you don't need business or anything like that. And you have to understand, if you're paying $23 a month here, you're getting 200 orders a month, right? And if you're not getting 200 orders a month, then you're not paying $23 a month. 200 orders a month times a $30 product, right? That's about $6,000 in sales. So at that point, you already have a successful store up and running. So, don't worry about that these all these apps cost so much money, right? Obviously it's gonna come out of your sales once you're making sales. So the next app you're gonna absolutely need is gonna be an email marketing app. So email marketing remains the best way to follow up with your customers and also basically promote new products and things like that, and just build an email list. An email list is still the number one asset of any business, in my opinion, and I think it's well-known fact at this point. Just because email is not going anywhere. People use email; it's like their virtual mailbox, and it's just very good for business. So having a customer list, super powerful. You do need an email marketing app. So you can just type in email marketing on Shopify. The one that I recommend is Klaviyo. It's the one that we've got installed on BroDay. It's the one that I have the most amount of extensive experience with. So if we go on Klaviyo, it's gonna be free to install. And then if we scroll down, we can see here that it's free up to an email list of 250 contacts. And then above that, it's gonna be $20 a month. And the final app in the apps that I think are essential that you absolutely need is gonna be SMS Bump. So SMS Bump super powerful app. It's amazing. It's the same thing as the email marketing app, except instead of emails, basically it's SMS and MMS marketing. So you follow up with your subscribers via text message. Super useful for like abandoned carts and just following up with your customers in that way. With all my stores, I've had a crazy ROI using SMS Bump. And so if you go down, you can see it's free to install, and then it costs 1.5 cents per text message in the US. So to give you an estimate of pricing, it's between $0, so free, up to about $30 a month. Obviously, the more text you send, the more it's going to cost you. But believe me, you're going to get a crazy ROI with this app, like crazy, ridiculous. I used it very recently. We don't have it installed yet on Broday, and that's just because we haven't gotten around to it. But I used it very recently and got like literally like a 9,000x ROI. So very, very powerful. So those are all the most essential apps. Now let's talk about the optional apps that I think you should still very, very much consider installing on your store. The first optional app is going to be a customer service app. So the one that I prefer is called Gorgias or Georgius. Honestly, they didn't really make the name too easy. I think it's like they named it after a Greek philosopher or something, but it's Gorgias. I couldn't figure this out for the longest time. There you go. It has a 7-day free trial. What this allows you to do is it's basically a customer portal, a customer service portal, and it allows you to keep track of all your customer service tickets, and it just makes everything really organized. It's something that's much more useful when you actually start growing your store. When you're starting out, honestly, you can just make a Gmail. Of course, you want it to be with like your domain in it. So what we have like support@broday.co, you can do that through G Suite through Google, and that's going to cost you some money as well. And I forgot about that one almost. For a custom email through G Suite, it's going to cost you, I think it's about $2 to $5 a month. And like, I think as you add every single team member, once you hire your team member, it's going to cost you more than that. It's about like $5 a month, we'll say, nothing significant. So that's going to be your custom email. And then through that, you can start off without using a customer service tool like Gorgias or Georgius. But once you start growing your store, it's something that I highly recommend. The plan for this is on the higher side, but like I said, it's something that I recommend when you are actually making money. This is $60 a month for up to 350 tickets per month, and then above that it's 300, and then 750 obviously once you're doing a lot of volume on your store, like 6,000 tickets, 2,000 tickets. The next optional app that I recommend is going to be a pre-order app. So if you type in pre-order on Shopify, you'll see a bunch of different pre-ordering apps, right? So there's pre-order manager. So Preorderly is the one that I've used. I've also used pre-order manager, and essentially what they do is they allow you to set up a pre-order on your page. So let's say you started your page and everything, got the photos up, website is ready, and let's say that you want to, let's say that you ordered in bulk, maybe you're not drop shipping, and you want to allow your customers to pre-order your product before it arrives. Well, you can use this app, and then you can basically set up like a pre-order page, and it's going to allow them to easily pre-order the product. Now, of course, if you're drop shipping, you don't need a pre-order app, so this one is optional. Now, the next app I recommend is Lucky Orange, and this one is really great. What Lucky Orange does, it actually allows you to basically see exactly where your customers are clicking on your site and exactly what their behavior is on your website. So it's very useful for seeing what your customers are doing on your store, maybe why they abandoned the cart, right? So it's very good for figuring out the parts of your store that need improvement, that could use improvement, and things like that. So Lucky Orange, this one has a free plan available, 7-day free trial. And if you scroll down to the plans here, we can see it's free up to 500 page views a month, and then up to 25,000, it's $10 a month, and then it goes up from there. Now, the next app that I recommend, this one's optional, but it really makes your website building experience so much easier. This one is called Gem Pages. So Gem Pages, remember I said that Shopify, with a few plugins, it really becomes an easy drag and drop experience. And so with Gem Pages, that's exactly what what Shopify becomes once you install this. So this actually allows you to basically turn Shopify into like a drag and drop page building experience, and it's something that is so useful because 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, if you wanted to build a store like this, you just couldn't do it in drag and drop. You had to like hire a development team, you had to spend thousands of dollars to hire a software developer and a coder, or you had to learn this stuff yourself, which is incredibly tedious. Like honestly, myself, I hate coding, and I just always outsource that. I always go by this mantra: do what you do best, outsource everything else. Let someone else who's good at it do that. So Gem Pages, highly recommend it. So this app is going to be $15 a month, up to $30 a month, and this one comes with a 10-day free trial. Now, the next app I recommend, this one is optional, but super useful. This one is going to be your one-click upsell app, and the one that I recommend for that is Zipify OCU, one-click upsell. So this allows you to increase your AOV. So what AOV is your average order value on your site, and one of the best ways of being a more profitable store is by increasing your average order value. So either increasing the number of units you're one customer buys or increasing the number of products each customer buys. So this allows you to basically install like an upsell or a cross sell. When your customer is about to purchase, they're going to get an upsell like, hey, would you be interested in this product at this discount? So this is also something that I recommend. This one's going to be 30-day. It's going to have a 30-day free trial, and it's a $24.99 per month for your plan after the free trial. The next app that I recommend is going to be called Sticky Add to Cart. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to install a sticky add to cart button on your website. And why that's very useful is basically it lets you it makes it easier for the customer to actually add to cart at any time when they're on your website, and it just overall increases the conversion on your store, the conversion rate. So highly recommend this app. This one is optional, $6.92, 7-day free trial for this one. And then the last optional app that I recommend, and honestly I highly recommend this, it's going to be an order tracking app. Like you need some kind of a way for your customers to be able to track their order, and obviously with the vast amount of shipping carriers in the world like DHL, FedEx, UPS, and not to mention all the other ones that are local to each country, you really need a system on your website that will allow your customers to easily check where their order is. And so for that, you want to type in tracking on Shopify. You can see all the ones here. And the one that I recommend is going to be called Tracktor Order Tracking. So this one has a 14-day free trial, $5.99 per month. And so this allows you to install like a real-time tracking portal on your site. So that way people can track wherever their package is around the globe. So that's it for the apps. Now let's break down 3 different levels of starting budget, where we're going to basically do it like a low budget, a medium budget, and then a higher budget, which that way you can see exactly what you're going to be able to afford and what you're going to be able to do with each level of budget. So for the first budget, for your low budget, I'm going to call this basically doing this on the cheap, bootstrapping. For this one, we're going to include the sample. We're going to say $50. You're going to order one sample. The domain name, we're going to say $20. Facebook ads, we're going to say $50 a day, because really you can go below that, but honestly it's going to be very difficult to really start pushing your website and start making sales if you go under $50 a day. Just because think about it, right? For your ad set, if you are going to be setting it at $10 a day, and you're going to be doing one interest for $10 a day, if you only have a $30 a day budget, you can only test 3 interests as opposed to being able to test 5 interests at $50. So for the low budget, we're going to say $50 a day times 7, so $350 of ad spend. For the low budget, since you're dropshipping, we're not going to include any product cost because you're only going to be paying for the product from the money that you make from your customers. The next is the apps. So for the apps, we're going to include the most essential apps. We're not going to include any of the optional apps. You can add those on later. And so for the most essential, that's going to include your frequently asked questions app, FAQ, a product review app, which is going to be free. For the frequently asked questions, it's about $5 a month. Email marketing, $30 a month. SMS Bump, $30 a month. Order tracking, $5.99 a month. And all these apps, by the way, most of them come with free trials anyway. So it's not like you have to start paying right away. It's going to be either between a week, 2 weeks, or a month after you install the app on your store. And that comes out to roughly about $50 to $70 a month. Now, next is going to be your influencers. So if we're going to do it on the cheap or the low budget, basically you're only reaching out to micro influencers. And so this is going to cost you basically your unit cost of like the units that you're going to send out to the micro influencers. So between $250 and $500 in units, and you're not paying for any influencer posts. Remember, we're doing it on the cheap. So that's that for influencers. And then for photography, we're going to say that you're going to do it yourself, which is going to be free, or you're going to pay $500 for the Concrete and Perfect Photo service if you just want the easiest, most reliable way of getting amazing product photography done, which the link for that is down below as well if you are interested in that. So for our low budget option, that comes out to being between $750 and $1,000. Now you might think, whoa, that's low budget. That's more expensive. And one thing I will say is that when it comes to e-commerce, when it comes to online business, I'm a no BS guy. Like I really strive on having the absolute best e-commerce content on YouTube and on the internet. And as opposed to all these other YouTubers that always talk about, oh, you can get started with $100, $200. Look, honestly, like one app is going to cost you the email marketing app's going to cost you $30 a month. SMS Bump's going to cost you probably $30 a month. So I'm just being realistic. I can lie like these other YouTubers and say, oh, $200 a month, $300 a month, just to get you to basically maybe do coaching with me or sign up for our courses. But honestly, I want to give you the honest answer. My mission is to have the best e-commerce content on YouTube, on the internet, and so that's why I really want you to succeed. I want you to have the accurate information. And don't worry if you don't have even the $750 to $1,000. As long as you have the will, there's always going to be a way. Okay. When I started, I didn't have this, but I figured out a way to get the money. Okay. So at least if you have an accurate idea of how much you need, well, then just figure out a way to get the money. Get a part-time job, do something in the neighborhood. I did window cleaning. That helped me out. So there you go. That's why I want to give you the real accurate numbers. All right. Now for the medium budget, let's say for your sample, you're going to be able to order 2 units of samples. So from 2 suppliers, that's going to be $100. For your domain, let's just say it's going to cost $50. Facebook ads, let's say instead of 7 days of Facebook ads, we're just going to put in 14 days of Facebook ad spend. Of course, you're making money. That's the point of Facebook ads. And you might not be making a lot of money. You might just break even at the beginning, but it's not like you're just throwing out $350 or $700, right? So for Facebook ads, it's going to be $50 a day, 14 days. That's going to come out to $700. For your apps, we're going to include the essential apps, which we said was going to be $70 a month. And then we're going to include all the optional apps for this one. So the customer service portal, so Gorgeous, that's $60 a month. The pre-order app, which is going to be $20 a month. Lucky Orange is going to be $10 a month. Gem Pages is going to be $29 a month. One-click upsell, $24.99 a month with 30-day free trial. And Sticky Add to Cart, $7 a month. Tractor, $5.99 a month. So next, we're going to include an influencer marketing budget. And for our medium budget, we're going to say $1,000 in influencers. So that's going to allow you to basically reach out to a lot of micro-influencers, send out units of your product, and also maybe a few paid posts. So that's going to be $1,000. And then for your photography, we're going to keep it at $500. So you're not doing it yourself. You're going to use something like the Perfect Photo Service that I talked about here. There's a link for that down below. So for your medium budget, it's going to work out to being approximately roughly between $1,500 and $2,000 without ordering any product units. Of course, if you're dropshipping, you don't need to order product units. If you want to do bulk orders, which is fine, it's going to allow you to get a logo and it's going to allow you to get faster shipping, then obviously that cost is going to go up. And if you are ordering product inventory, we're going to bump that cost up to $2,500 to start successfully. Now for the high budget option, basically, we're just going to take the higher range of all the expenses that we said, and we're just going to give a range of between $2,500 and $5,000. So obviously with the high budget, you can basically afford the best of the best. You can afford all the apps, the best photos, everything like higher Facebook ads budget. You just have more breathing room essentially. You don't need to start with a high budget. Believe me, I've seen people who start with high budgets, with low budgets, and it doesn't correlate to success. I myself started e-commerce with a low budget, and I was able to turn it into a $32K a month income. This was back in 2017. That was in sales, product sales, and I was at roughly like a 45% profit margin, which is typical with e-commerce, 30 and 50%. So there you go. With a high budget, obviously $2,500 to $5,000, you can now basically afford, anything that you need to get started, and you have more breathing room. Now, if you look at these numbers, they might seem much higher than all the other YouTubers, and as I've discussed already, that's because there's a lot of misleading information out there. And like I said, I want to have the best content. I want to give you the no BS truth. That's what I pride myself on. That's how I know the only way for my channel to grow is for me to share the reality with you. Honestly, it really hurts me when I see other YouTubers out there that say that you can start with $200 when no, you can't. Like your domain's going to cost like 20, $50, you can't, it's going to be really difficult. So just the one thing to remember is that you don't need to have that much money. It's important to have an accurate idea, the accurate information, which you do have now from watching this video. But if you don't have this money, that's fine. Just set the goal, set yourself the goal of what you want to do. For me, my goal when I was starting with e-commerce was $10,000 a month in sales within 6 months. And so I hit $32K a month in sales within 3 months. Okay. So as long as you set that goal, 10K a month, for example, or 5K a month, right? Depending on what you're comfortable with. I like to go for the higher one. So 10K a month. If you live as if you've already achieved that goal, if you live every single day and in your mind, like you already have a business, you already have an e-commerce store that's making that much money, you don't have to worry about the how. Just keep on moving. You don't have to have all the puzzle pieces in line. Believe me, as long as you go down your own journey, everything will work out, trust me. So that is the no BS truth on how much money you need to start a successful Shopify business. Now, one more thing before you leave. If you've been overwhelmed with a massive amount of information online, you've been watching all these YouTubers and you don't really know where to start, you want to start, maybe you have some money and you just want to get going, you want to get this going for yourself and you want to achieve freedom as fast as you can and build up a successful store and own a successful business on Shopify, then something that I would highly, highly recommend is joining a reputable course. course. So I actually am the owner of Ecom Freedom, and we have two of the best courses, one for Amazon, one for Shopify. And the reason why I say best is because we've been in business almost the longest out of anybody else since 2017. Most of them have come and gone. We have changed the lives of thousands of people. We are always updating our content. We're always rolling out updates to keep our content and our strategies, like all the step-by-step videos up to date. So if you want to learn every single step that you need to build a successful Shopify e-commerce brand that will allow you to achieve freedom, and it's going to be something long-term, not short-term like all these other YouTubers talk about, then click the link below to join Shopify Freedom. With that, you do get unlimited mentorship with myself and $1 Million Seller Josh, who's one of my great friends on our team. That's something that we also pride ourselves on. We have a team of $1 Million Sellers, so we're actually in the trenches doing this every day. I will be increasing the price of Shopify Freedom to $9.99. The reason I'm doing that is because our Amazon course is $9.99, and honestly, $4.97, where it's what it's at right now, 50% off. It's like too cheap, and that attracts too many people that don't actually end up taking action. Like for us, what's the best? The best thing for us is to attract a higher quality student that will actually succeed, because we have higher levels. We have, I want to build up a mastermind of successful people. And so that's what I'm in the process of doing right now. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and take advantage of the deal. Click the link below, and I will see you in the program. One more thing, if you want me to give you money for your e-commerce business, we actually opened up our Ecom Freedom VC, which is our venture capital firm, and it's kind of our angel investing thing. So we've opened that up recently, and I thought to myself, what better way is there to basically get on top of the e-commerce revolution than to help out my audience, help out our students, help out everybody with their starting capital. So if you want between 1 and 10K of investment for your e-commerce store to help you start off, the current round of investment is open. We're taking applicants, and if you want to work with the best in the industry, you want to partner up with us. And how it works is basically we take equity. So if you get selected for an investment between 1 and 10K, well, then obviously it's going to be like we might take 10% or 20% or 30%. It's going to be a minority stake, and then obviously it's going to be a win-win deal for both of us. And that way, it's kind of like Shark Tank. Like we're going to be helping you every single day. You're going to be able to talk to us, and we're going to give you that strategic advice that you need to build a multi-million-dollar brand. Our company mission at Ecom Freedom is to build e-commerce brands of the future. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and click on the link down below, and I will be looking at your application soon. Subscribe to the channel for the absolute best e-commerce content. Thank you so much for watching. Also got an amazing podcast. If you are, maybe just like chilling, going about your day, if you're cooking, I always listen to podcasts when I'm cooking, I'm in the kitchen and stuff like that. So you can listen to that. I'm on there 3 times a week posting episodes talking about the Freedom Lifeline, achieving freedom, building success, achieving wealth. So the Dan Vass Show, link is down below. You can also have me on Instagram at Dan Vass, and you can DM me. It's the best way to reach me. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. I'll see you next time.